Hello guys, how are you? Welcome to the video of the week number 6. This is our first lesson. So welcome back again. Um, I want to remind you before I forget that this is week number 6, meaning that we are going to have our first test and our first interview in only 2 more weeks. Um, so I recommend that if you have not advanced so much with the book, well, this is an early warning to do so. You're going to require to finish the book in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully you adjust a good amount of time for doing so. Also, I want to mention that if you require any clarification, conceptual, any example or something like that, well, this would be a great moment for clarifying these or asking anything about our previous topics, because well, most likely you're going to require that, right, in order to have successful results on the test. Well, that's it. I would like to introduce the class as usual with a little poem, sharing with you this. This time we're going to have a poem by Alfonsina Storni, and this one's called Oveja Descarriada. Oveja descarriada, dijeron por ahí, oveja descarriada, los hombros encogí. En verdad descarriada que a los bosques salí, estrellas de los cielos en los bosques pasí. En verdad descarriada que el oro que cogí no me duró en las manos y a cualquiera lo di. En verdad descarriada que tuve para mí el oro de los cielos por cosa baladí. En verdad descarriada que estoy de paso aquí. Really like this one because, well, first of all, comes from a girl, from a woman that saying something like this in her time was really difficult. There were a lot of prejudices, even more than the ones that we have today. So going against the current and going against the natural place of women at the time, that was most likely being married and cooking and raising kids, was a big deal, right? So this poem deals with what is expected from you, and sometimes when you do not give people, your family, your friends, society in general, what is expected from you. Well, this girl didn't really care, but more than exhibiting a punk anarch attitude is a more, let's say, profound philosophical reflection. Now it's basically why following rules, why doing what other people expect from me to be happy, if I am just going to be a short time on this earth, right? Well, interesting one. So guys, this first video is going to be really short. I am not going to tell I am not going to share with you anything conceptual in here. We're not going to cover any new topic in this particular video. That would be for the second video. This one, I will reserve it exclusively to explain the assignment number 1 of this week. So remember that our last topic of the former week was the figures of speech, and specifically the alliteration, right? We did a couple of exercises of recognition of examples, etc. So what we're going to do right now in this week is to have an exercise of interpretation that has, let's say, some more some additional components. Okay. So this assignment is going to have 2 parts. This is the part number 1. Okay, so attention please. What do you have to do? First of all, I would recommend to work in groups of 4 or 5 people. Right? Let's say that this task has a level of difficulty that may require to have some extra time. So that is why I recommend groups of 5 people maximum, or 4 or 2, or you're completely badass. So work alone. Work on your own, and that's just fine. That is the first get together. Then, if you can be so kind and go to the slide number 65, you will find the poem The Siege of Belgrade. Okay, this poem is completely alliterative. Okay, meaning that different from some other alliterations in literature that we covered in the last week, that were not perfect, that they have intermediate different sounds, another word or something like that. This is a perfect alliterative poem that uses each one of the letters of the alphabet. Yes, so if you can see, the line number 1 starts with A, an Austrian army awfully arrayed, and it goes B, C, D until it gets into the last letter of the alphabet. Okay, as you can see, there are not intermediate somehow connectors like of, the, from, articles, no other verbs with other initials. So it is completely it completely starts from A and it finishes again in A once it sort of goes around the whole alphabet. Okay. As we mentioned in the last explanation, this is not only a cosmetic thing. It is not an exercise only on pronunciation or ability to somehow maintain some coherence on pronunciation, but it actually has some sense, right? And as spoiler alert, this is based on a historical event. It tells a lot of different things about this siege that I think that first of all you will have to understand and try to look for that word. No, what is a siege? In case you don't know about it. So this is the poem. I would strongly recommend that everybody reads the whole poem and try to understand the whole poem. Okay. Why? Because some people will be assigned, as I mentioned, I will in a minute I will mention some different parts of the poem for interpretation. But if you analyze only that part, it's very likely that you won't understand a thing, right? So my invitation is that you read the whole thing. Even reading the whole thing, it may be tricky. So that will be first. As usual, I am going to distribute this poem among you guys. Okay, so as usual, I will write your name as it is on the list, and then in front of your name, I am going to write a number. These numbers, in this case, go from the number 1 to the number 6. Okay, so what do they represent, or what do they mean? It means the verses, or let's say the fragments of the poem that you are supposed to work with. Okay, so for example, let's take a look at what you have over there in the poem. If you have the number 1, it means that you have to work from verses 1 to 4, right? So from the beginning that starts an Austrian army awfully arrayed until the final one that says dealing destruction's devastating doom. So that will be the number 1. Now the number 2 will go from there, meaning from the next verse, that is the number 5, until the number 8. Okay, the one that finishes with how honors heaven heroic hardihood. So that will be for the people with the number 2. People with the number 3 will have to work until the verse 12, meaning from the number 9, infuriate, indiscriminate, in ill, until the number 12. Men march with mounts, with moles, with mortars, mines. Then people with the number 4 will go from the next verse until the verse number 16, right? Quite quaking quickly, quarter quest. That will be the people with the number 4. People with the number 5 will work until the number 20. Yes, so meaning from the next verse, that is reason returns, religious right redounds. until the number 21 that says unwise, unjust, and unmerciful Ukraine. And then the final group of people would work from the next verb until the end of the poem. The end of the poem is attracting all arms against acts appeal, right? So as you can see, some of them are longer and some of them are shorter, but I couldn't distribute them equally, because if I stop or interrupt certain verses, the poem wouldn't make sense. Like, I mean, if I give you like a verse for everybody, a verse of five verses, for example, a fragment, it wouldn't make sense, and you will have a harder time understanding it. Okay, so well, hopefully you understand. The distribution, right? So we have 6 parts from the beginning until the number 4, and so on and so forth. So please pay close attention. Okay. Now, what are you going to do? You are going to paraphrase in your own words. What they are trying to say in that fragment that corresponded to you. Okay, specifically in that part, what is the author trying to say? Yes. So let me help you with the first one. Yes, I'm going to give you like a freebie over there. It says, an Austrian army awfully arrayed. How can I paraphrase that? Well, there was an army, a group of soldiers, of maybe knights, maybe just military people, who came from a particular country that was Austria, and they were awfully arrayed. What does it mean? Awfully arrayed means that they were organized in a way in which they were menacing, right? They look like really aggressive. Looking at them was a terrible thing, yeah, because you thought that there was violence coming. Okay, that's it. I have just paraphrased in a long way the first verse. Okay. So it's up to you. You may decide to paraphrase verse by verse. I think that you are enough people in your groups to do so. Or sometimes you will see that there are verses that go together, like just to say something, 6 and 7, you are required to read both of them in order to have an idea. So you paraphrase it in that way. The whole point is that you're able to provide an explanation of the segment that corresponded to you. Yes, again, I invite you to read the whole thing, because I think it might be a little bit difficult to, for example, decipher the verses of the number 5 from the 17 to the 20 without knowing what happened before, right? Because it is like a narrative poem. There is something happening throughout the whole thing. So that will be it. I will be expecting, depending on the extension of your segment, 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, because it also depends on what is really happening on the story at the moment, and that's it. Okay, you're going to do it because I don't think that anybody thought the opposite, but you never know. You have to do it in regular vocabulary, right? Let's say in whatever order and a combination of words that you see fit. You don't have to do it in alliteration. Okay, in this case we are going to reverse the exercise. There is an alliteration, you are going to interpret that. Okay, very well. So that is the first part of the assignment number 1. Simply the segment that corresponded to you, you are going to paraphrase it in 3, 4, 5 sentences, period. That's it, no more. Okay, very well. Now the second part of the assignment. You are going to provide your opinion of the poem. It was good, it was bad, it was difficult, it was boring, it was horrible, it was a waste of time, I don't know. Whatever you think about it, and you can be pretty honest about it, I don't mind. You can just elaborate your opinion, right? But the condition this time is that you are going to do it using alliterations. Okay, you're going to express your opinion of the poem using alliterations. there are different ways in which you can do this. You can do perfect alliteration as in the poem, yes? So using a single sound throughout your whole opinion, and respecting the same sound without interruptions, right? That is difficult. If anybody can do that, well, great. That will be really nice, right? It will be really nice to see that. But then, if it's maybe too difficult for you, it takes a long time. So you have the other option, that is do it like with the other alliterations that we had already studied. That is with intermediate words, or let's say connection between 2 or 3 sounds and then an interruption or something like that. Okay? That is another way to do it. Now, a third way, or let's say a complementary to the other two, is the fact that you can use different alliterative sounds in your opinion. Yes? So let's say that for the first part, you're going to write I don't know, a sentence, a phrase with 4 or 5 or 7 words. So you can use for all of them, or for half of them, I don't know, for 3 or 4, one sound, like the S, for example, right? And then you can continue in the rest of your opinion with another letter, with another vowel, with another sound in general, no? So another group of 7, 8 words or whatever, with V, or with B, or with N, right? It's up to you. So actually, I know it's a difficult exercise for some. Yeah, let's say that not everybody has the same ability to do so, and that really depends on different things, especially your imagination, creativity, and your experience with writing, right? So that's it. Now, how long is this opinion supposed to be? I am going to ask you for at least 2 sentences, okay? Now, if you think that you can write a whole paragraph with that, great, excellent. Give you some extra bonus for that. But the minimum that I'm asking you is 2 sentences, because I know it might be tricky and difficult, and the whole thing is not only presenting the vocabulary and presenting the sounds, but also remember that it must make sense. So I must read that, and I must understand that you like it or didn't like it, or found it boring or difficult or complex, confusing, whatever. Yeah, complex, confusing. I already gave you like a free alliteration over there. And well, that's it. So those are the 2 exercises that you have to do. As you can see, they are not really long. Yes, I'm giving you more people into your groups if you want to, just because it may take a long time in the thinking part. Yes, maybe not in the elaboration or in the writing, but analyzing and having some of the ideas maybe tricky. Okay, so hopefully that's good. Please pay close attention to the video, watch it as many times as you require. Remember that I'm not putting the instructions again in the assignments, so make sure to understand it. If you have any question, please just let me know. So that's it. See you then in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.